All right, guys. So the Biden administration, their first year is shaping up to be a fiscal conservative's nightmare. Okay, a fiscal conservative's nightmare, right? Because they're doing a whole lot of spending and they plan to spend a whole lot more. And with this spending comes the tax man. Okay, Uncle Sam is about to pull up to the door and say, hey, you owe me more money, right? And for all the broken promises of the Biden administration, it is my prediction that they will execute on this promise. They will execute on their promise to raise taxes, okay? Raise taxes. That's why, if you got a Roth IRA, you might want to go ahead and pay your taxes now, okay? Pay your taxes now, right? Because taxes are probably going to go up, okay? And, this comes as analysts are predicting that we're going to have record growth, right? 7 to 8% growth this year. 7 to 8% growth. We might outgrow China for the first time since 2005, okay? That's what they're predicting, right? And with this kind of growth comes the potential to overheat this economy because the Democrats are continuing to pour money, right? They continue to pour fuel on the fire of this economy that's about to open up. A lot of people have been saving their stimulus checks. People have bank accounts full of money that have had jobs this whole time. And again, I understand a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people have lost their jobs. I'm just saying. There's also a lot of people who have not lost their jobs that have been collecting stimulus checks and they're ready to spend. People are ready to go on vacation. The economy is ready to open back up, right? And you would think that the Democrats would just wait, right? They would wait and see what happens. Let's see what happens with the boogeyman inflation, right? The market thinks there's going to be inflation, okay? That's why we're seeing some turbulence. But the Democrats said no. They're impatient because they're ready to get started on their next infrastructure package, their next big bill. The core of the Build Back Better initiative from the Biden administration, their monstrous infrastructure package that, President Trump tried to pass a way leaner version of last year. But Mitch McConnell said no. Okay, he said no. But Democrats' package is estimated to cost between $2 trillion and it could get up to $4 trillion. That's if they try to permanently expand the child tax credit that they implemented in this stimulus package and address healthcare along with infrastructure spending and other priorities that the Democrats have talked about. Okay, and this is projected by Goldman Sachs. With that being said, right, a lot of conservatives are going to be asking, how do we pay for this? And rightfully so, because we're spending a ton of money, right? And our debt is piling up, right? And the Democrats don't seem to care, right? However, what we do know is that the Democrats do want to increase taxes to help fund this thing. So let's learn a little bit more about the Democrat tax increase agenda. President Joe Biden is considering a tax hike to underwrite the economic program launched by the approval of his $1.9 trillion pandemic stimulus package, a Monday report by Bloomberg claims. The tax jump will be the first major lift in federal taxes in almost 30 years if successful. Bloomberg quotes unidentified sources to outline the increases will back Biden's promises made during his 2020 campaign. An independent analysis of Biden's campaign tax plan conducted by the Tax Policy Center found it would raise around $2.1 trillion over 10 years, according to the report. Tax hikes included as part of infrastructure and job packages will likely include repealing part of former President Trump's 2017 tax law that benefited corporations and wealthy individuals, the news outlet notes, citing sources close to the matter. All right. So when it comes to this infrastructure plan, right, I'm just going to say, for those of you that, want to bet on this stuff, there's some infrastructure ETFs. You got Caterpillar. You got U.S. Concrete. There's some names out there in the stock market that, some of you guys maybe should take a look at, if things look good for Biden's stimulus package, for Biden's infrastructure package, if that really starts to pick up in conversation. It could be a decent play. Just saying. Wall Street in particular, in terms of Biden raising taxes, corporate taxes, they are concerned that he's going to raise it from the 21% that Trump dropped it to back up to 28%. It could maybe even go further than that. It could get up into the 30% range. That is what Wall Street is worried about. And if that happens, trust me, investors are going to be spooked. Okay. And that could, propel a little mini crash, right, in the stock market, because earnings will be taxed more heavily. There'll be less gains for investors, right? It's just basic stuff, right? So keep a lookout on this type of stuff for those of you who are in the markets. But, like they said, it's not about timing the market. It's about timing the market. I'm just giving the information. As Breitbart News reported, Biden twice flagged his desire to raise taxes on everyone, including the middle class, during last year's presidential debates. He said, quote, "That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts," Biden said during his first of 3 debates with President Trump. And then to insinuate the point, he said it again, "I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts." Now, if Biden eliminates those tax cuts, right? If he eliminates those tax cuts, that is going to raise taxes on everybody, right? Don't let nobody fool you, okay? It's going to raise the marginal tax rate on everybody, I think, except the bottom 10% and like the 35% bracket or something like that. But most people are going to see a tax increase if Biden repeals Trump's tax cuts. Quote, "His whole outlook has always been that Americans believe tax policy needs to be fair, and he has viewed all of his policy options through that lens," ex-Biden economic aide Sarah Bianchi told Bloomberg. Quote, "That is why the focus is on addressing the unequal treatment between work and wealth. Any tax increases that are passed would likely take effect beginning in 2022, according to Bloomberg, which noted some lawmakers have called for the administration to hold off as pandemic-related unemployment remains high. Democrats would need at least 10 Republicans to back the bill to move it under regular Senate rules, but GOP members are ready for a fight, having been warned during the 2020 campaign. Joe Biden in the White House meant the tax manna cometh. You got that right. Quote, "We'll have a big, robust discussion about the appropriateness of a big tax increase," Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said last month, predicting Democrats would pursue a reconciliation bill that foregoes the GOP and would aim for a corporate tax even higher than 28%. Ding, 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 ding. Right? So here's the thing, guys. It looks like the Democrats, as I've told you guys before, they're moving forward with their agenda on infrastructure, right? And this plan could cost anywhere between $2 trillion to $4 trillion. And they're going to have to fund it some way. There's no way that they can continue to spend without increasing taxes, right? And, this is one of the reasons why I generally like to vote Republican on these issues. And the reason why is because even though the GOP, they spend too, they at least try to spend a little bit less, and I'm going to get my taxes cut. I'm going to pay less taxes. Democrats going to spend, and then they'll probably end up raising taxes, right? And both parties ain't going to stop spending. So if both parties going to spend and run up the deficit, I might as well pay less taxes in that process, right? That's part of the reason why I tend to vote Republican. But, this type of thing, guys, it is something to be aware of, because if Biden repeals all of Trump's tax cuts, he said that he's only repealing the part that's on the rich, right? He's only repealing those in the highest bracket and in the corporate tax rates. That's what he says, okay? But we know when politicians say stuff, they're saying stuff to try to get votes. That was during campaign season. Biden's now president, right? He said a lot of things during campaign season. Like he was giving us $2,000 stimulus checks. That didn't happen, okay? And other things that he promised, right? He promised the progressives a $15 an hour minimum wage. Didn't happen. But I'm telling you, he gonna fulfill his promise on repealing Trump's tax cuts. At least I believe that he will. And I believe that they're going to at least try to repeal all of it, which means that I expect a tax increase on all of us, most of us. Okay. And you should too, right? Because I don't trust Biden on this. I don't trust that he's just going to raise the taxes on the rich like he says. I think that with the amount of spending that they're doing, they're going to be compelled to try to increase government revenue as much as they can by increasing taxes. So again, it just depends on how big this thing gets, right? Wall Street is a little shaky about this, right? The investment banks believe that there's a chance this could happen this year. There's a chance that it might not happen this year, right? And it'll be interesting to see what paths the Democrats pursue. They can do another budget reconciliation if they want to try to pass this thing without the Republicans. However, they may try to pass it with the Republicans. Who knows? Who knows at this point? It's too early to tell. But what I do know is that the GOP, I don't think they're signing up for anything more than $1 trillion. And I'm even sketchy about them signing up for $1 trillion package, right? There's no way the GOP would let the Democrats spend $2 to $4 trillion more dollars, right? Without putting up a hell of a fight. No way, no how. Okay. So the Democrats, with that being said, they may find it a waste of time to even try to work with Republicans on this. Right. So it will be interesting to see the politics of this. And quite honestly, I am excited for the deliberations to start because I really want to see the politics of how this plays out, because infrastructure spending was one of Trump's big promises that he wasn't able to execute on because of the establishment, because Mitch McConnell said no. And now, the GOP basically gave the Democrats a layup on this, right? Everybody wants infrastructure spending, right? We need to improve our infrastructure. It's something that is bipartisan. And just like, legalizing marijuana, infrastructure, Republicans missing layups for no reason, Okay. I'm just saying, eventually, hopefully they will learn. Right, they will learn to stop giving the Democrats easy layups, and maybe the Democrats will learn to stop missing layups. Right, but Republicans give layups, Democrats miss layups. That's how politics works, right? That's the current state of our politics. So we'll see. I'm hoping that Biden doesn't increase taxes. But I have very little faith in those Sleepy Joe at this point. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.